Hello and welcome to stage 2 of the Warrior Games Andrasta Tour. And yes, welcome. It's here. I'm Mike Williams, and I'm joined here with Gemma Felsted, resident expert on all Zwift racing.
We said that earlier, Mike, although we were talking about this course, and I didn't seem to be quite so expert. But no, we know about it. We know what we're doing. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. I've been very excited, actually, to see the results from the racing from yesterday. We followed a couple of riders, and it's amazing how much invested you get with some of these teams and some of the riders. So I'm really keen to see where they came in the results. And talking of the results, I'm not sure if we're able to share the results that we've got. Don't know if David, our tech expert, is able to share with you the PowerPoint.
If not,
but just to let, oh no, I'm sharing the screen myself, David. So hopefully that should be in there somewhere to be able to share. Do apologize to everybody. Well, look, what we've got today in terms of a course, we are on the Magnificent 8, which is a tremendous course. And today it is not going to be first past the line. It's going to be the fastest. Now, the slight difference there is all to do with the points and what you can get in the sprints. Gem, do you want to explain a bit more?
I knew you were going to ask me that, Mike.
Yeah, because I have no idea how it works.
No, it's fine. So this is, I think I've got this right. We'll soon be corrected if we're not. So I think this is very different to what people have seen before, actually. So bear with me. There is a few segments on this course. Points are awarded for the sprint section, the climb, and the finish line. So the flat section, it's the top 10 fastest crossing the line. The QOM reverse, it's the top 7 first across the line. And a finish line, top 15 first across the line. I don't know if I'm not sure I can remember all that, let alone the riders. So
if you're a rider, I think the answer is broadly, let's face it, just pedal as hard as you can for as long as you can and just keep going. So just to let you know, for those people who are I'm not sure if you can actually see the results as we're posting. Yes, we can. There we go. Brilliant. So all we can see from that. So looking through the results from this week, we saw in the Cat A+, we've just got the top 10 results. We won't go through each individual, but well done to everybody in there. And as you can see, some really, really fast times from what we saw yesterday in the time trial. Moving on to the A group, as you can see there is another good range of different people from different teams. Actually interesting, Katrina Weiss that's up there. We were talking yesterday about people who've transitioned from other forms of sport, and Katrina was actually a speed skater before she came into Zwift. And one of the questions we asked many of the riders was, how long have they been using Zwift? And most people have actually got into this fairly recently, but not Katrina. Her husband was part of the beta testing team, so she's been in it since almost the first few months. Yes, he's now doing between 150, 200 miles a week in terms of training. So a huge commitment. And we'll hopefully see how Katrina does in the rest of today.
Yes, and just sitting at 5th place there is Catherine Monks. We have Catherine joining us on a live stream tonight. So sorry, this afternoon for some of us. So we'll see Catherine riding and hoping to pull her position up. But 5th is amazing. So if she can go up further than that, she's going to be doing very well.
Indeed. In fact, anybody, let's move as we move on to just conscious of time for the start. So if we move on to the B races, just for anybody really in this top 15, because of the point system here, if you can accumulate all these points over the various different sections, anyone in this top group can be getting themselves to first place, which is brilliant.
Yes, in this group, we've got Asa, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Swedish Zwifters. She's joining us tonight, and she's currently sitting at that number 1 position. So she's got it all to work for tonight to hold that position. I'm sure we'll see her trying extremely hard.
Indeed. And we've also got Alison Thompson there up in in second place with Cryogen, and she's a big time Zwift Racing League rider, and has actually managed to get to the playoffs in season 2. So huge strength that we've got there in that B category. Let's move on. So into Group C. And as you can see, we've got Seaman, Wickman, and Freiburg all at the top there. And it's good to see, interesting to see, two of the Swiss team in the top three. It'd be interesting to see today if they try and work together on some of the work.
Excellent. Yes, we've got Wickman joining us this evening from the live stream. She's currently sitting in second position there.
Yeah, excellent. Good luck to everybody in Cat C. And Cat D, now one of our featured riders from yesterday, has got into second place from Jordan Johnson, which was brilliant to see, because with the live feed, we got to see just how much physical commitment she was putting into that climb. And particularly in that last few sections, you could see she's really having to dig deep on the time trial.
Yes, and you know what? We've got a bit of a soft spot for a rider in the DCAT. She's not on this list, but I believe she is racing tonight. It's Jazz, and actually, Jazz has just sent me through a picture of her getting ready. She's 10 years old. I'm sure we'll come to her when we feature the D riders, because she's always a firm favourite for us. But we also have a live stream from Jordan again tonight.
Brilliant. Yeah, so anybody who has been watching the previous episodes of the various different tours put on by the Warrior events, Jazz, or Jazzy as she likes to be known, we now found out, is just 10 years old. And I can tell everybody she is a superhero when it comes to racing. So we will definitely be seeing how she gets on in the DCAT. And good luck, Jazzy.
Do you know what I've just had as well, Mike? Jazzy's mum is riding tonight, and she's in the BCAT.
A bit of in-house rivalry there. So we'll have to see who manages to get two riders in the same household. Let's see how their bandwidth holds up as well. The other part,
good point.
Of course.
Let's have a look at the course.
Yeah, let's have a look at the course. Now, please do not be alarmed by this and check the scale. So if you look at this, it looks like they've got this mountainous, horrendous climb. It's just the scale on the map. It's not quite as bad as it looks.
Did you draw that yourself, Mike?
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't it? It looks like I just had a hack at it. But it's an interesting course. And Jem, where do you think the sort of the big attacks and things like that are going to be coming in today?
Well, I mean, they're going to hit the Zwift KOM fairly soon, so that's probably, I don't know the exact, probably 7K, and it's not massive. It's kind of a drag up, and then there's that, for anyone that rides it will know, there's that really steep section that goes round to the right. Yeah, they're doing it in the right order, with the statue in the middle. And that's kind of a place where not only do you have to put quite significant power down, but you then have to hold it to push yourself over the top. There is a possibility they can get into a super tuck after that, so they might get some respite. Then there's a great big long flat. So it would be good to stay in a group for that flat section. You don't want to be dropped off there, otherwise you will find it incredibly difficult to get back on again.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the top... remember today, you can actually get some of the power-ups, and aero is one of them. And I think draft is another. So particularly on these downhills, when you choose what power-ups you get, when you choose to deploy them, could also be really important.
They also have the Ghost power-up tonight. We don't see this very often. It is used in Zwift, and it's not new, but it's not used very much, where a rider can effectively use the Ghost power-up and they disappear for... I don't know the amount of time, I'm going to say 10, 15 seconds. That could be useful to attack up the hill, actually, to just try and put the effort in. Everyone thinks that they're all in a bunch, and then suddenly a rider's off the front. That could be interesting.
Sneaky, indeed.
Yeah.
Not just that. Yes, brilliant. So we're coming up to the last 20 seconds, ready for the race. Everyone's going to be on their trainers, building up power, almost wheel spinning to be ready to get off this line.
Yeah, this is the A+ category, though it says E at the top. Just to confirm, it's the A+ riders in this category. And there is, as we can see, is that 20 or 30 of them? It's a little bit small for me.
I'm not quite sure. Oh, and there we go.
Well, it started, but they don't seem to be going anywhere.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's our stream or a Zwift issue.
Yeah, nobody seems to be pedaling, so maybe there is a
small delay.
There is a small delay waiting for the delete delayed.
this is the A riders. That's why the A riders have a 1 minute delay. I'm not sure if we can get onto the A, someone in the A plus, because they'll be going. We're all getting ramped up there.
Oh yeah, I was waiting to see it go. If anyone's ever done one of the time trials in Zwift, it's a very similar situation. You have to sit there and wait for a little bit. I think, is it Tilburn? It was in this group. Yeah, so Tilburn was from yesterday, a Canadian ex-speed skater who once held the Olympic torch for Calgary in '88. Her top tip, actually, for people getting into Zwift was to learn how to do make sure you learn how to draft. So we'll be keen to see how she gets on.
Look at those numbers. I don't mean to interrupt Mike's amazing speed skating story, but look at those numbers going out from these ladies in the A category. They really did do a hard start there. And as far as I am aware, they had completely stopped pedaling for that 1 minute and then they had to go. So they are going for it. We're looking at McKinley, who is sort of hovering around right at the front now, looking really strong. They've settled ever so slightly, but they're still pushing the power out there.
Yeah, and it's actually a slight rise on this sort of lead in, and so you can't really just accept it and sort of roll yourself into it. You need to be on the G of go when you are absolutely going for this. We've also got Lara Lawson in this group. I believe Lara actually races a little bit of mountain biking as well, and she was posting on Instagram. She has a love-hate with it, but the thing is, she can that almost fear of some of the mountain biking, but certainly the amount of power that she's got and what we're seeing here, she can certainly churn out some watts. Look at this. She was just over 5 watts per kilo, even at this already stage. Now I think they're just about. Oh, yep, they're on the descent, this first descent, and then they're going to be coming up to the reverse KOM.
Yeah, talking about Lawson there, she has come on incredibly well over the last year in Zwift, and I'm hope that she's putting some of that power that she's gained into her real life events. I think she possibly will surprise herself. She's moved up categories, and now to see her racing in this A category, it's absolutely phenomenal. And not only racing, she's really holding her own as well. So I'm keen to see how Laura gets on tonight, but also these other riders we've got in here as well.
Yeah. It's a tremendous quality of riders that we've got throughout all of the categories in these events, and it never lets us down with the quality and commitment of the riders. So after that initial sprint, people will hopefully they'll have hit their red line. I think that people were maxing out, so they will start now to try and find a way to get their heart rates under control and get themselves into slightly more of a rhythm before they get to the KOM, where we know the attacks are going to start.
Yeah, we've got a little while, so we're going to try and filter through the rest of the categories and then come back to the A or the A plus when we can. I think we're just going to see one rider from this A category. We've got Monks here on the live stream. Oh, there you can see. We are often not sure with this live stream exactly what you can see, but we can see her riding vertically, which I think would be...
That's how much power she's putting out. She's got so much power she can ride up a wall, or maybe something. We haven't managed to quite rotate the image, but again, you can see here actually she's got a really good rhythm. She's not sort of spinning out the top, and you can see there we've got about in terms of RPM, it's a good steady pace. She's not up at that 100 RPM plus kind of mark. Now we're just going through the volcano here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a rise. It's nothing too much, and I think the women, unless they particularly want to attack early, will probably be keeping an eye on each other and just staying together in this section until they get to that QOM.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go. There's Monks.
Excellent.
She's looking good. Really nice cadence there, and still looking really relaxed, and hopefully some really good tunes going on in the background.
Yep, and her domestique has just entered the room, which is good to see as well.
Maybe he's coming to fix her camera.
There with a it's obviously going to be there with the water bottle and ready to go.
We'll see if we can find you some B riders now. Oh, there we go. Just on cue. Look at that. Lovely. This is our B riders there, and just over 2K. Large group here, really big group.
Yeah. And although this is not a crit race or anything like that, it's going to be one of those races, like most of Zwift, you want to stay in the pack as long as you possibly can. And there's so much advantage in there. Interesting, coming through this volcano, you can get yourself into quite a good rhythm. And just as you come out of the volcano, there's a bit of a rise. It's not long. It's only like a short lip, but it's about 4%. And it's one of those things, if you don't know it's coming, and you're not ready for it, you can find yourself just losing a bike length. They're just coming up to a point here. You can find yourself dropping off the back of a group if you're not just quite ready for it to be coming just before you exit the volcano.
Yes, so, and sorry, Mike, if I'm not mistaken, this is where, I thought they may receive their first power up in a minute, actually, but I might have just missed that unless they go back into it, because they haven't had any so far. So that would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I can see straight away? I think that is Jazz's mum. We just saw her there, Perrin. Her second name is Perrin. So she's holding her own in this B-Cat tonight.
Excellent.
Here we've got Asa here, live stream up the correct way. Always good to see.
Yep, and brilliant in full racing kit as well. Oh, do you know what? I'm a map of Watopia on the wall behind, wheels up on the wall. I'll be honest, I'm getting Zwift setup envy here looking at this.
Yeah, I can guarantee you mine doesn't quite look like that, actually. I need to maybe upgrade somehow. And she's got lots of water bottles there already, so I think she's prepared, fully prepared.
Yeah, and also keeping a nice, good rhythm. And also you can see watching the screen, which really does help. If you can keep an eye on where you are, what's happening, you want to make sure you're close to the front. You probably best want to be back there, sort of like third, fourth wheel, something like that, to make the most of the draft.
Yeah, it actually takes a lot, as everyone will know who rides Zwift, a lot of concentration in these races. The same in some ways, but different to in real life racing. You are absolutely watching sort of your power, how you're doing. Those riders in front, you're having to maneuver that power all the time. It requires a large amount of concentration. And I know that tomorrow that's going to be a big factor in the longer race.
Yeah. It was good to see Mary Dutzen's name coming up there in this particular group. Mary was one of our featured riders yesterday, and she put in an absolutely huge effort, cheered on by her own in-house domestique as well, who I'm sure is going to be there again today. Right. So
we are trying to find some riders in the C. Yeah, we're just trying to find some riders in the C category now. Sometimes companion app isn't always playing ball, but we'll stick with the Bs, and I'm sure we'll flip over really soon.
If we can't get to the Cs, we could always go to. I think Jazzy is down as Jazz Perrin, isn't she, in the D group? If she's around, whilst we're trying to find a way back to the C group.
Yeah, and we just want to check back in with the A's and A plus riders before they start getting to that QOM.
QOM, yes, absolutely.
We're trying our best. So this group here, there are 41 riders in the B category. I can't. Oh, straight away.
And
there we go.
Jazz. Look, so we're into Jazz Perrin. Look at that. She's still in with that top group in the Ds. Tremendous effort coming out of the volcano and on her way back down. Brilliant. Great riding.
Yeah, 17 riders in this D category. I can't see. There is a split actually just at Jazz. So 9 of the riders have got into this front group here, and another 8 will be in a chasing group. But that can always change because of the QOM and the bit to follow. So this will be quite interesting to see. We've got the Velovixen rider there.
Indeed. Well, actually, should we see if we can get back to the A's or the A pluses and just see if we can see that group? I'm just trying to think of one of the A plus names just to help our tech David find one of the people. So I think actually there's Katrina Weiss in the A category, certainly.
Yes, we've got a few riders there. We're just trying to find someone now. Hopefully they're coming up to that QOM, which is the bit where they're going to put down the power.
I think the QOM, as this is going to be one of the biggest places to attack, definitely on that climb.
Yeah, I think so. They're going to have to put out a lot of power. It's not very long, but it is going to take a lot out of them. And then they've got that long flat, really, which you always think is sort of a relief, but they're still going to be pushing, especially if they're in a group and you really don't want to get dropped on that flat. It's very difficult. Oh, we're still having some trouble getting to the A riders. Let's see if we can find someone else.
Yep. Indeed. So we've got
Johnson actually in this category, and we do have a live stream from her. Yeah.
There she is. She's in this group. She's just in there with a parent. Now, if I remember rightly, was Johnson in the previous races that we've covered for Warrior Games, where she had an absolutely tremendous sprint at the end, I think.
Oh, yeah, well remembered, Mike. Actually, she does. She does
have she's nodding along. She remembers. Yeah, in fact, in the last Warrior Games, with all the categories, the first off the front to sprint got caught and passed, no matter what they were using in terms of power-ups. Johnson was the only one to not only make the first break, but make it stick and go through for the win on that particular particular
so
course.
She's going to be really interesting to watch. I'm not sure if we're quite that tech savvy that we can get back to her for exactly that sprint, but we will try our very hardest.
Yes, indeed. Right. Oh, there she is in Zwift as well. So brilliant, just on the flat there. So we're just still trying to see if we can get back to our A or maybe even C riders now, just thinking about the
the distance
they're going to be getting themselves up to the QOM.
It's interesting actually, the wheels and the bike choice these guys have gone for tonight. I was expecting to see some Tron bikes, but possible that Tron bikes not allowed. Are they not allowed to?
No, they are allowed. I think it's because we've got the Cat D. This is, in some cases, it might be some people are relatively new to Zwift.
Yeah, true.
So still waiting to earn that Tron bike. And I think I can see a lot of Canyon Air Roads in there, which is the best bike you can have. I think up to about something like level 20 or something like that. I'm hazarding a guess.
I'm quite impressed with your Zwift knowledge there, Mike. Well done.
Indeed. It's only because I'm right there with them.
Right, we're on the BCAT now. This is a good place to watch them. They're coming up to this QOM now. So this is the small or long drag upwards.
It is. Now, as they're coming up, it really steps up just at the top. Just as it comes around to this corner, it rockets up from about sort of 5-6%, something like that, and suddenly jumps up to around 15%, right here. And this is the place. There you go. You can see that Swedish rider, Berglund knew that was coming, I bet, chosen this the place to attack, and is absolutely absolutely going for it up there. Look, you can see a decent gap back to that, the rest of that team.
Yeah, so it's really about holding the power here. There you can see they are still putting a fair amount of watts down here to try and push over this thing. If they can create any gaps at all, you can see there's 1 second there back to what is probably the 10th rider. They don't want to be too far gapped. And this bit, you always think that there's a relief, but it does climb back up again. So you've got to stay on the power this whole time, actually. You don't get the relief yet.
You see a few people deploying their power-ups here because this is the bit where your lungs are burning, having just come up that, particularly if you've chosen that as the place to attack. And this is about all about cementing it. So it's going to go a slight drop or flat. Then it comes up to another little climb, a tiny bit lumpy, and then you will need to save something for that all-out sprint into the QOMs. Because if you look at the bunch we've got there, I think it's, what did you say? It's like the first 7 for the QOM. There's more than 7 people there, so they're going to have to put in the effort to manage to get some points.
Yeah, we may stay with these actually and just see who goes over the line for the QOM rather than cutting to another category because it's not far. And I can confirm as well how many there are. So for this one, first across the segment gets the 10 points, and second, down to there and all the way down to 7th, as Mike said, which is correct. So just 7 riders are up for points here. Be interesting to follow these all the way up.
Yeah, indeed.
So in the
This
running, we have got. It's very difficult to tell.
I think in the running at the moment, Gemma, we've got all of them. If I'm honest, because I think
Well done, Mike.
if you genuinely, I think if you look at that group, it doesn't matter where you are in the group at this point in that climb, you could still be getting there. If you could make an attack from the back, or you might be able to leap off the front.
Yeah, there's a few of them here. You are correct, Mike. Let's follow them all the way up. We've got Power. We've got a Socks for Watts rider in there. I think Jane Despas, I think she's in there for Socks for Watts. A few Cryogen riders and some Swedish Swifters as well.
Well, I can see one of the Crush Pod riders in there as well, moving up through the group, actually. So it might be something just planning to come to the front. I think they can come around this corner. And I think, can you see the title from the top here, just as you come around this corner? I know it's just coming up to the last climb. You might actually just be able to see the hoop of the QOM.
Hopefully, rather than seeing the landscape. But I'm sure in a minute the app will scroll round. I think they've got a little turn here before they come up.
Yep.
They're all going to be getting, you know what it's like? It's interesting to watch their watts now, actually, because they've dropped ever so slightly. They're not pushing out any megawatts yet. So they're just looking around, virtually looking around, seeing what each other are doing and waiting. There's that arch. Here we go. Let's have a look to see what's happening now. So we've got Laurie at the front.
Oh, look, and one of the Swedish riders has gone straight off the front. Oh, but has deployed a drafting. There was a ghost rider. Lots and lots of great ideas here. Look, the Swedish riders have come to the front.
Swedish Swifters are really going for that. Brilliant, really good.
And over the line. That was brilliant power there from the Swedish riders. Although they didn't seem to be racing necessarily as a team for that, they all came through at the same time. So brilliant. So now, Gemma, did you get to see who came through first?
No idea, Mike. I think it was one of the Swedish Swifters, possibly Laurie there. We'll see if we can get confirmation. Zwift Power doesn't always update as quick as we'd like it to. They're going to go just possibly come into a super tight. Now you can see a couple of the riders going into that, and that gives them some much needed relief. We'll see if we can cut to the A or A plus riders just to see how they're getting on, and then we might be able to come back to the other groups too. Oh, there we go, just on cue. Look at that.
Look, brilliant. Katrina Monks. Is it Katrina Monks or Kirsten Monks? I do apologise. Monks, anyway, up there with the team riding for Awesome. So just checking where these guys are. Oh, right. So these guys are just coming on the bridge, just coming over into the desert section. So they've done their descent, and it is still a good bunch in here as they're going to come over into the desert. Now, in terms of the Magnificent Eight, as you're coming into the desert section, it's relatively flat. And this, if you can imagine, you've put out huge amounts of effort coming over that hill on the hilly reverse. And now you've still got to find some sort of rhythm that's close to the edge as possible of what you can put down, and then maintain it all the way through this flat section.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. So this group now, if we have a look, we probably can't see actually with the screen how many we've got, but you want to try and stay in this group on the flat section. And though just looking at it from our point of view, you think, oh, that's fine. You know, they're all together. They all must be reasonably comfortable. You know what it's like when you're in that group and you're the one that's thinking, I cannot hold on for a second longer, but I need to do this. So though they look very together and combined, it does not always feel like that. Although Catherine does look like she's got it very together tonight.
Exactly it. Look, I mean, Catherine looks like she's exactly as you want to be. You've come over that top, you've put up a huge effort, you've managed to recover, and now you can see the concentration just to maintain herself in that pace. It's a fairly high cadence, but trying to maintain that place in the group. It's a great opportunity. I mean, one of the top tips we had from the riders was learning how and when to draft. Zwift updated some of the mechanics and the physics in the background probably about 6 weeks ago now. And just knowing how and when to draft, this is absolutely the place to do it, because on the flat, if you get dropped on somewhere like this, you'll never manage to get yourself back into the group. So trying to work out how to take your time, how to recover, yeah, very important in this section.
Yes, I'm just wondering how long this section is actually. They are on this flat for quite a way now. The next little incline is not until they get to almost 23k. So they've got, and they just climb out of the desert. So they've got almost 10k of this flat section now. So I would think it is likely that they stay together, but as I said, you never know quite who's really, really feeling it, and it only takes, a moment's loss of concentration and you're off the back. So however many there are in this group, it'll be interesting to see whether they are still together at the end of the desert.
Yeah, and it's also great to see, for those of you that are supporting the various team members, to see some of the messages coming in. Please do post and message your team. So we've got Katrina and Laura go. How do you say their team name? AEO, Aero,
Aeonian, Mike.
Aeonian. Oh, you see, you know far better than me. I apologise. I'll also confess that I can't quite see it on my screen. And also for monks as well. More support there. Now, when it comes to these sorts of events, Gemma, I'm never sure what to do in terms of food and sustenance. What would your approach be to a race like this?
Well, I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask, because if you ask me, I would just say a lot. And I know we've covered this before, actually. It's a little bit different tonight. It's not the longest race. It's a sort of a medium length, and there are some bits where they're going to have to put down a fair amount of power, so you don't want to be eating all of the time. But they are going to be burning through fuel and burning through sugar a lot. So it's going to be a question of getting down something, hopefully, and whatever you can, whether that be in a liquid form, just some energy drink, or some of the riders here might be taking on some gels. I think they'd be fairly brave, and I may say I might give it a go to try some solid food, because they're going to be working really hard. But I reckon some liquid or some gels these riders will be taking on, and possibly not quite yet, maybe half an hour in if they need to. It depends how well fueled they were coming into it.
Yeah, and also just to say, to completely contradict my suggestion that they might stay together over this flat, you can see some huge power numbers going down at the moment, and people trying to stretch and pull this group and start to separate it out by the looks of things. Had a couple of drives off the front here. I think people are hoping somebody will come with them, and we might actually just have the beginnings of a split already. We're watching.
Yeah, look at the couple of riders really putting down that power there at the front. Monks, actually. Oh, is it because it was for the sprint section, Mike? I think there was a sprint there.
Do you know what? I never go for that sprint, I'll be honest. Yes, absolutely. They were going for the sprint. And I think Monks managed to get across, if not first, up there. Rungqvist. Oh, actually, you can see the results there on the left. So we've got some. Now, once you've come through this sprint, you might want to recover, or you might want to think about, can I just roll off the front and keep going? Be hard work to do it from here, but some people might think to do that.
Yeah, on that sprint there, they actually had all the way down to 10th across the line. And it wasn't first across the line, although sometimes they do correlate. It was fastest over the sprint. So even though we have seen whoever passed across the line first, they may not necessarily be the fastest. They sometimes are, but you never know. Some of the riders further back could really go for that sprint as well.
Indeed.
Just
much
trying
more
to find
strategic planning and thinking than I was given credit for it.
I think more strategic planning and thinking, Mike, than us, because we didn't realise that they were going for the sprint.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought they were making a break for it, actually.
Apologies. Yeah, I thought they were going for the break, so apologies to everyone. So we've got, so the A riders are doing very well. So should we pop back to one of the other rider groups? Yeah, here we are. Here's the C's. They're going to be just coming up to the sprint, because we now know the sprint is there.
Yes.
And again, with this, you can see that group of Swedish riders that are in there. Something that is different in Zwift to racing in the real life, of course, is that what you often want to do is just ride faster than the people next to you. But it's very hard to see if they are suffering when it's in Zwift, because, of course, you can't see these people, and very tough indeed.
Yes, you can see we've got I think it's Wickman here from, yes, live cam on Wickman. We're going to stay with her, hopefully, while she goes through the sprint. She's got a very low cadence here. She's riding about 70 or slightly lower RPM. So it'd be interesting to see if she picks that up on the sprint. We haven't missed the sprint, have we, Mike?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. She's. I think she's just got herself. Perhaps she's got herself in a gear where she can just roll it over, and then it means that she can turn on the power just as she suits.
Well done, yes, well thought. And the Socks for Rocks rider here as well. We've got some cryogen riders in the mix, and always really popular and up there, the Swedish Swifters.
Absolutely. So Wickman again, another person with a setup that I'm quite jealous of. I'm loving the smart bike up there in the background as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have another bike to hang up in the, and if it would be, I can imagine this from both of us actually, Mike. So we're Zwifting on our road bikes. The bike that we hang up in the background would be the muddiest bike that we have, and that would be the second bike.
It would. It would. I think we'd have to go and borrow bikes off other people if we were to do this, and make sure that somebody with a clean bike that we could borrow. So I said that I think that the sprint was coming up. I may be mistaken, actually. It might be that we have missed this sprint.
I'm just going to have a look now as well.
I thought it was around the next corner.
Oh, you were looking at corners. I was going to look at the K's, actually. So, yeah, brilliant. Let's see. Where is the sprint? I don't know. Let's see.
Well, as they are coming round, it's as Gemma's looking that up, we've got a fairly tight bunch here, and people do seem to be rolling around and taking their turns, and people are sticking together. Now, I think they've just gone over the line for the sprint, and there you go.
Oh, so there we go. We hadn't missed it, Mike.
No, total confidence in where they were on the course. And you can see a couple of people have gone. Now, someone's dropped their aero and gone straight for it, and another person has dropped the draft and stuck right in behind someone. We've also had a ghost just reappear in there. And as you said, this is the kind of place to go for it. Wickman, you can see now in our live stream.
It's really drawn out there. Look at that. She's got that draft power up there, and she must have passed probably 3-4 riders there to come in. That is absolute. And you can see now she's actually completely stopped pedaling. Her avatar will catch up in a minute, and she's just waiting to get back on the power there. Yeah, brilliant. That
was sustained power at over, I think, about 400 watts.
You know what? I forgot. I've completely forgot to watch, Mike. I was watching the avatar.
I was watching Wickman.
Oh, brilliant! At least we've got it covered.
Absolutely, she was giving it the beans out the saddle, maintaining it all the way through. But is currently having to take deep breaths to try and get that oxygen back into her lungs and maintain this place. Now, what we have seen here is we do seem to have had a little bit of a front group split here. There's actually a split from Wickman, but now behind her, it's about 4, 7, 8 seconds back. So what she needs to do now is, although you can see she's shattered, she's had to take a break with her legs for a few seconds, is now stick with this group. In fact, she's leading just at the front.
Yeah, she's probably trying to, if it were me and I had the legs, then I would be trying to just push this group and keep them away from that chase group behind, because then you've got a nice smaller group for going over the finish line. They've probably all got the same goal in mind, and they're probably all just as tired. But if they can push now, they can try and hold that gap and stay together for the finish line. It's just, your chances are a lot higher if you've got a smaller group there, and there's only I believe six of them.
Yeah, looking good. So great to see that for the Sea Riders. Brilliant. Should we have a look back at go to the D-Cat? I'm just trying to think where the A's might be for.
Yeah, we're going to try and flick back to the D-Cat if we can, and then we obviously want to see the A+ and the A's go over the finish line.
Of course, yeah.
So the finish, just to make sure we don't miss it, Mike, is at 28. So there's a little bit of a lead in, almost 29k. So got a little way to go now. And this is the time probably after that sprint and they've settled down that they will be taking on that fuel.
Yeah. Oh, and you can just see it just doesn't take much for a small gap here. And it's actually quite hard to get back again.
Yeah, Wickman just dropped ever so slightly off the back. She might have just dropped her cadence of stop pedaling for a moment, and that Socks for Watts rider, she is going to be trying hard to get back on there.
Yeah. Well, shall we have a quick look at see what's happening in the A riders at the moment? Let's go to Tilburn and have a see what's happening at the front of the course.
Yeah. If we can get there.
Yeah.
I think we're waiting for Companion app just to update us.
Look at
Here
that.
we go.
Smooth. One of the
smooth.
Watty ink. Brilliant.
Okay, so this is still a relatively large group in this A category. They've got, I think they've pretty much stayed together. These are the riders we were talking about to see whether they'd split over the desert. Now, they haven't come up to that section yet, I don't believe, where there's that small riser. I think it's 3%. It's unlikely people will drop off unless they are really at the sort of edge of their limit, and then they might have to. We just saw Mary just drop a little bit off the back there, but she's come back on now.
Indeed. I think is that Tilburn. I think it's Melissa Tilburn.
Oh, Melissa, sorry.
It was Mary.
It's
Mary.
we had Mary yesterday, didn't
Mary
we?
that we were looking at yesterday.
Oh, well done, Mike. Thank you very much. We've got a Vision rider there. We've still got Lawson in there. Mobs.
And Monks is still up in that group as well. Also Vice.
Yes.
As well. And as you can see, the watts per kilo, even though we're on the flat here, sort of elevating between what's happening on the front, they're having to chuck out around about 4 or 5 watts per kilo, and it's and then in the draft you can see slightly less going on just to maintain it. It's
just looking at the next, so they won't need to have any more, there's no more segments, so it is just first across the line now, so they don't need to be doing anything particularly strategically, probably just try and break up this group if they can, but we know how hard that is on the flat, so they are looking for finish line placing now.
Now, the next opportunity to attack, we're just coming towards the end of the flat section, and it just starts to climb up. Not a huge amount, let's be honest, but it climbs up a little bit. Just gets a tiny bit lumpy. Now, if you are on the edge of your cardiovascular ability at this point, if you're trying to really stick with it, even these little lumps that you go through next, I think the average gradient's only about 1.82% or something, but it comes in little stages, and those little rises can be just enough to push you over the edge and just get you into the red zone. Yes,
that's right. You can see we're just looking at Lawson's heart rate here. As always, we don't know what their maximum is. She's just doing a reasonable cadence, so she's had to pick up a little bit here. But her heart rate is probably very, very high for her, and it's going to stay high for pretty much the rest of the race. I don't think we'll see that drop off at all.
There's something about your heart rate whenever you do a race. If you're training and you try and get your heart rate up to a sustained level, you feel like it's almost impossible. But when there's in a race, when there's someone in front of you, I don't know how we do it. We all manage to find that extra 1%, 2% when it's in a race.
I know, yeah. I've often gone back and looked and thought, how on earth did I keep that up for the whole amount of time? And it does feel hard, obviously. But when you look back, you think, I'd never do that in training, because common sense would kick in, and you'd think, I'm just going to stop.
Exactly. And you can see here, so with the A riders, they are, so they're just coming to the end of the flat section, but we've got a little while before they're going to be getting anywhere near the beginning, near the end. I'm just wondering, should we have a quick look at the D riders, the D category, check in with those guys?
Yeah, I think we're trying to flick to someone in the A plus. Actually, we're finding it
A+,
hard to get to. We're going to go to A plus because they have.
They'll be further up the road.
Yeah,
of course,
that's fine. And then we'll go back to the Ds. We might see them go through the sprint, although they may have done that already.
Yeah, again, really interesting to see the range of teams that we've got in here and people sticking within their team kit. So that there's the Swiss Zwifters, were none in this particular group we're looking at, but it's really cool to be able to see just another team member, even when you're in Zwift, even though you might not be in contact with each other, or they might be on Discord as they're racing. There's always something about seeing another rider in the same kit that can spur you on.
Interestingly, in this category, the lady at the moment who came in first place yesterday, I don't believe is riding today. So I apologise if I'm mistaken. I don't believe she is, but we do have Hayley. Or Hallie, I think it is Hallie Gill, and she came second yesterday. She is riding in this category. We haven't seen her yet, so I'm not sure where she is. And in third place is Weiss, Katrina Weiss. So she has a good position to hold and try and hold that because she's in third place at the moment overall.
Great. And yes. So we're still within the A group. I'll tell you what, that some of the images you can get from Zwift just look brilliant, don't they? Some of the picture angles that you can get and see the work. Great. So yeah, they've just come through this little lumpy section. They've just come down now, and now they're coming back out onto the bridge, which will probably, I think, brings them back in down to the sort of downtown area, doesn't it?
Yeah, they do have they sort of go around this hilly loop at the end. I mean, it's very small compared to what they have been doing. So there's a small kicker, I said, at 20. Oh, they've already passed it, just out of the desert. Another one, it's really small near the end, 27k. It's got a little while to go. It is likely that this group, did we say that earlier though? This group will stay together for the finish. They haven't got long left now.
No, indeed. And we will be able to find it. We obviously won't know straight away who the winner of the race is, because we're going to have to look at the points, and we will all be looking in Zwift Power to see who came across the line. But then we'll have to have a look at the points before we get to see the results from today.
Yeah, we're having some issues with Companion app, which is how we follow these riders on the course. And although they are all on the same course, they're effectively in different races. So we can't flick between the categories very easily. So if you're in the A category, you're getting lots of coverage now, which is brilliant. But we apologise to the other categories. We're just restarting Companion app now and see if we can get back to them.
Indeed. So what we're in here, we're just coming into the underground section, and again it's quite flat, but just as you come out the other side of here, there's a small rise. Again, these rises, when you look on the route maps, they will say perhaps 1.8%, something like that, but they can come up in sort of short, sharp stages. So just as you come out to here again, I think there's another sort of 3-4% little kick just as you come out from underneath the sea, coming back into the downtown area. And that little kick can sometimes just be enough to split a group. Although this group looked really strong, very well together. And in the A category, you'd expect them to have the experience to get through that.
Yeah, it's likely, it's not always the case, but it's likely some of these riders have been riding a while now, especially in the leagues that we've had, going quite a while now as well, with the ZRL and WTRL. So they are more than used to racing. And as I was saying that, I'm so happy to see a different category, this C category now. We're watching Brooke here.
Indeed. And they are just coming to the end of their time in the desert. And actually it's a fairly decent sized group here, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is Julia Brooke here. They look like the group is, it's hard to tell actually, probably just between 10 and 15 riders here. They've just climbed up that exit of the desert, I believe, because that's around 20. Oh no, they've still got it to come. They're probably just about to climb out of the desert any minute now. Yep. So they're on that small descent, -1, and I think we'll see them climbing when they come. Yeah, it's when they've passed this bit and then round the corner. I don't think it will split, but it will hurt the riders.
Indeed. And actually, Brooke has just been riding within Zwift. I mean, the fact that she's a C is great. She's been riding in Zwift just since December last year with Team Evo. And she was telling us before how much and how important Team Evo is to her as a community. And I think for many people, if you haven't been into Zwift, if you get involved, even though people from around the world or different parts of the world, you can come together, work as a team, and you can really build a community within your own Zwift team. A group of people coming together for a common goal can be really sort of a development of friendship as well as community.
Yeah, I think so. We've seen that. I know that you've had experience of that personally, Mike, where you've come together with the Vellatino guys and ridden some of the time trials. And at first, I'm not quite sure they knew what was going on, or were that sort of keen for it. But just running away with it now. It's addictive. Zwift is addictive, and so is Zwift racing. As much as it hurts, I think it's very soon forgotten after the race, and you just want to do it again and again.
There's something about us cyclists that's just not quite right, is it? Really, it hurts, and we want to go back. Now, look, they're just coming up the climb here, and we've got someone just stretching off the front here, just as they're coming out. And yeah, as I said, if you are on the edge as you're coming up this particular climb, it can be just enough for you to drop back. And I think it is Saji of Cryogen. Is that right? Saji of Cryogen coming off the front.
Visagi.
Sorry, Visagi.
Yeah, so
that's it. I think that's a great place to make a little bit of a dig. See if you can up the pace a little bit.
This is Annaline. She's really trying. Sorry to Mike to interrupt you. She really did give that a good go, but when you've got the group chasing back on, that's tricky. Hopefully she doesn't get swallowed up and out the back. She can just hold on to this now.
Absolutely. You know what it's like. Sometimes it's good to just pull a little bit just to test, see who's got any legs, see that, perhaps show people that you're feeling pretty strong as well.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about that a lot in previous races where we've had sprint points, actually. Some of the riders have been testing their legs before. I imagine now being 24K and they're pretty well aware of what their legs can and can't do. But if you've been on a flat section for a while, you would have pushed out, maybe a similar power, maybe a similar cadence, and you might want to just shake things up a little bit. Possibly they're just trying to hold on.
Absolutely. Just looking at the distance, I'm just wondering if we're able to look at our A+ riders just to check how far they are up the road, because they might be coming into the final sections. Looking at the distance.
Yeah, we're having some trouble with A+, but we do have A ready to go when we're there.
Brilliant.
We go. Look at that.
There we go.
Gen Comfort from A. I think there's not many Ks left, so we might stick with this A category actually.
Looks like Jen's on her own.
She is, we'll see whether we can scroll up this list. We'll stick with Jen again. She can't see the gap, actually. It's quite a big gap, actually. We'll try and work our way up this list to the front of this group.
Yep, so you've got a few splits here and a few groups together. So I think this is one of the chasing groups, is it? Or is this the...
I think this is the chasing group, because these are 15th downwards. So... they aren't looking for finish line points at the moment, but because it's down to top 10, but they won't want to give up because you never know what could happen to the riders up the road. So they want to work together. I don't think that they will bridge the gap. We can't see what the gap is. I think it's unlikely, and we'll try and work our way up to see if we can find some riders at the front of this category.
This is certainly, if someone's put a burst of speed coming into the last part. Yep, and you can see there the amount of power that's coming down. There was 360 watts. So I think we might be in the first group here. They're just coming through the downtown, heading towards the finish line. So look at that, 310 watts, absolutely banging out the power. Just surging a little bit. And some people at this point, Jen, what would you be doing if you're in this group coming up to the finish line?
Let's be clear, Mike, I'm not sure I'd be in this group, but if I was, let's just imagine for a moment, if I was in this group, I'd be conserving some power. It's possible, although the rider we're looking at the moment doesn't have, that they have some power-ups, or they may have a power-up in reserve, particularly if they've got that aero helmet. They're going to be looking to use that on the finish line. So they'll be holding that, desperately trying to keep companion app or whatever they've got open to make sure that they hit that at the right time. And aside from that, just managing their breathing, trying to manage that power and use as least power as possible, but stay as high up the field as they can.
Yep, and you can see that McKinley there just stretched a little bit, almost, I think they lost the draft, tiny amount behind them. Look, and somebody was just going straight through there in the orange, can't quite see. Yep, it might be something that's gone slightly early in terms of the sprint to the line.
Yeah, I don't think this is the front group. I think this is the chase group, but we're not too sure, actually. We'll keep an eye on them and see how we go.
Yeah. Well, look, this is if you race on this, we've got some problems with the images at the moment. Here they come.
Here they come. Big sprint
A
there.
big sprint, big
Yeah.
streak. Just over the line. Now that was. I can only see it's Electric Spirit Rider. Timed that beautifully, coming from the back of the group through to the front and then making it stick. That last section for me personally, whenever I race this and race against my friends, is it just seems to go on forever. It seems like you can see the finish, you put the power down and you're just waiting for that finish line to come.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit different to in real life riding, where you may drop the power a little bit before you come into that sprint. But in Zwift, it just seems to build and build and build, and then you have to go, then you have to go into a sprint. And a rider who can do that is very, very experienced, or has a great sprint. Yeah. And I absolutely applaud them, because it's not a sprint from standing; it is a sprint from pretty high power to start with.
So should we have a look back? See, I think this race is. Obviously, Locker has over the finish line and finished. We'll see if we can get back to some of our other groups. I'm just wondering if we haven't seen the B category for a little while, have we?
No, we're going to see if the Bs are coming in, or anyone really from the Cs and back to the Ds as well. It would be interesting to see those.
Yeah.
I think we're just waiting for our companion app to update.
Yeah, and if we're looking for Bs, we had Alison Thompson, who was for the Cryogen rider, who was close to the top, as also Asa Fast Bergland for the Swiss Zwift group that was in number 1. And we had Molly van Houweling. Sorry, Molly, that terrible pronunciation of your name, from Dutch Diesel as well. So these were the top 3. So be interesting to see where they are coming in. If the companion.
Oh, here's Molly. Here we go.
There we go. And she's over the line.
She's over the line. We will try and go back to. So that was that BCAT, Mike?
That was BCAT. So hopefully we'll get to the C.
We'll get to the C.
Everybody. We're missing some of your the people that you're supporting coming over the line, but we will hopefully get in there. So we yes, we'll hopefully come back and let's have a look. Wickman. Obviously from Swiss Zwift was there, and we've got the live cam for her as well. You might be able to see if she's putting in the extra effort just to get over the line.
Yeah, as we're looking at these riders cooling down now from the BCAT, if they are, there she is.
There she is.
So this is Asa. So she's from the BCAT. I think she's finished now. You can see actually she's saving her ride, looking at her stats. And what I was about just to say was timed nicely here. These riders is likely they are racing tomorrow, and we'll come on to the details of that. But it is a long course. It's 50k. They are really going to need to recover before tomorrow's race. It is a tight turnaround. They've got 24 hours. It is a long race tomorrow, and it will be just as brutal, if not more, because it's it's long. So they'll be looking to cool down fully, take on some fuel, rest, relax tonight. It's often a little bit tricky actually to get some good sleep in between races because of that.
Here's Wickman now. It looks like Wickman's still coming up to the end of the race here. Yep, she is. She's putting in that extra effort. She might be in a group. We can't quite see the images, but she's going for it. And you can see, and there she goes. She goes into the sprint.
We're assuming this is the sprint. Yeah.
Everything. She's gone for it. Now, this is that part, as I was saying, it just seems to go on forever until you can actually get to that line. And then she's going. You can see that she's managed to pick it up again and again. That is huge effort going into that.
Absolutely massive. And what we will see is when she crosses
the
line.
The line. Look at that.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Superb effort there from Wickman. So great to see. And now we're going to let's now here we are. Jordan Johnson. Now, Johnson, we know Johnson has got the most amazing sprint. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the live stream, but we certainly know as we get closer to the end, Johnson's got a tremendous sprint to get over the line. So I think we might have dropped out some of the Zwift coverage.
This is probably the most interesting Zwift coverage. There's no actual Zwift coverage, but we do have the camera. We do have the rider cams.
Absolutely.
Jordan's probably. We don't know where. This is quite interesting. We don't know where she is on the course. We can see her face, obviously. It's likely she's coming in because she's just concentrating, just working her way around. We assume other riders around her, making sure she doesn't use up too much power. Thinking about where she's going to put that sprint out. We're not sure if she's got a power up, and it will be incredibly embarrassing if she's actually finished the race. And I've said all of that.
No.
She
She's in there.
finished.
She's shaking her head. She can obviously hear us. She's got 3K to go.
Thanks, Jordan. Without a live stream, we need this. So we're 3K to go.
Jordan is now multitasking. I'm so impressed. She's doing her own race commentary to prompt us as to where she is, as well as trying to race, as well as concentrate. And I'll try not to make her laugh while she's putting her head down there. I think we're just going to wait for the Zwift live stream to pop up.
Yeah, so, we're gonna see if we can filter through some live riders in the DCAT. I'm trying to find some for you, and we'll stick with Jordan while we're waiting for that.
Yep, it'd be good to see how Jazzy has got on. I think it was quite a long race, this one, in terms of distance and elevation. So pretty tricky, but it'd be great to see how after the race we'll check in with Jazzy and her mum and see how each of them did.
Yeah, we should have got them on actually afterwards, but I'm sure we're here and we will be able to update you tomorrow. I was concerned about the 50K for tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see whether they're going to take that on or not.
Indeed. Right. So I'm just going to check. Are we able to see any of the Zwift coverage?
No, we're just going through them now. We do have some riders, but we don't always have fan view available for them, so we're just trying to find them now. Yeah.
Great. So do we want to switch to the Zwift?
I don't think we can because I don't think we have any riders to show, Mike.
Oh no! Right,
because we can't find anybody, and everyone else has finished because they've had a time delay in the D category, so it didn't start until 4 minutes later, I think.
Great. Well, look. So, Gemma, what would you be doing for the recovery for tomorrow? We talked about tomorrow is going to be a big race, 50K, hard work. What would you be doing for?
Yes, slightly different to yesterday. I know we talked about it. Yesterday wasn't such a long course, so the recovery wouldn't have been, so important. But they would have used a lot of fuel today. So if they've taken some on board during the race, that's brilliant. Make sure they cool down properly. It's getting warmer wherever you are in the world now, I assume. So make sure you cool down properly and just try and relax. It's the adrenaline and the hype from the race, and often when you're talking with your teammates, talking with your friend, you're looking up the results, you're looking at the live stream, it's often that's the thing that really does get you, rather than just relaxing and concentrating on tomorrow's race.
And would you have already got a race plan in place? Oh, here we are, and there's Mary Dootson. Brilliant. We are back with Mary.
So is this the DCAT then, Mike?
Yeah, I think she is in the DCAT. Yeah, I'm just trying desperately to look at all my information and track the right person. Just trying to see who's around her. We might recognise one of the people in there. And we are. She's in the BCATs, Mary.
Oh, so she's just riding around again.
She's doing a second lap.
It's good to see her, though. So possibly Mary is implementing some of those things we talked about, which is to, cool down properly. She's now, so the race ended at 28K, and she's another couple of K in here. So you can see her cadence is really low. Her heart rate has dropped right back down again. So she is doing exactly what we talked about. Also waiting for us to hopefully get someone from the DCAT. We're still sorry, everybody. We're still trying to find names. It's tricky. If you're a rider and you have got a request from me to follow you, please accept it, because it makes us a lot easier to find you. If I am not your friend on Zwift, then it is very tricky for us to do. So you may have found a lot of you have friend requests from me on Zwift, and hopefully that's going to make it easier for us to follow you tomorrow.
Indeed. It looks like Jordan's actually finished. So unfortunately, we missed Jordan's big finish.
We missed a sprint.
Do you know what? We missed a sprint. We bigged it up right from the beginning. We know she's a keen sprinter. We put loads of pressure on her to perform. Poor lady. And
she might have been grateful, actually. I'm not sure anyone wants to see me sprint. So
no, exactly. I think also that the live cams are great, but it's that moment of just after you've finished the race and you just want to hang over your handlebars and hold on. So one of the questions I had was It looks like most of the races have actually finished. We're just going to have that confirmed. So do you think people are going to have a race plan for tomorrow?
Yes, sorry, I did say
already?
that, Mike. Yeah, potentially. So tomorrow's race is it is London Pretzel. So it's 50k. It's a long way. 50k tomorrow. That is a long way for these riders, and quite a harsh end to a stage race actually. So well done for Warrior Games for putting that on, because that is a long one. So the London Pretzel consists of it's relatively flat. It's got a sprint section about 12k in. They have to go up Fox Hill, which is an average gradient of 4.9%. It's just over 2.4k. Then they come back down again. They go onto the flat for a little bit, and just before that 50k marker, so around 47k, they have to go up Box Hill, which is 4.3% and 3k. So there are two big climbs in that tomorrow.
That's yeah. Do you know what? I've now realised why I've never raced that particular course, because that sounds horrible. The interesting, racing up Box Hill, it has a bit of a reputation, and it's going to be interesting to see. People have got experience of racing up both Box Hill and Fox Hill. There are places to attack. There's places where, you know, if you can just get through the next sort of 30 seconds, you've got almost a break just as it flattens off. And certainly some of the places where you know you're going to be sprinting to the top. Now, Gemma, have we got points again tomorrow, or is it just first over the line?
I was just about to say, just as you were saying, they come down off Fox Hill and the flat, they have a sprint segment. I am pretty sure it's in between the two hills. So it's the Mull sprint, reverse sprint, top 10. So this is fastest on the sprint. So similar to we had today on that sprint segment, down to 10th place. These aren't quite in the right order. So going back to Fox Hill, we have got first across the segment, top 10. And then it is Box Hill across the finish line as well. So the fastest is actually only over the sprint, and the rest of them are like fastest first across the line. But the Box Hill one and the finish line go down to the top 15. So a little bit more there.
Great. Well, look, I mean, for people who are taking this as part of the full race series and the accumulation of all these points, it's going to be really hard to see. You're going to need a maths degree after the event to try and work out exactly what the points are. But, and unfortunately, it does mean that we're going to have to wait until tomorrow when we'll get the race results, and we can then go back through that tomorrow before the race. So look, thank you very much, everybody who's been watching today. We've got to see a lot of the riders. If you're a rider, please do accept a friend request from Gemma. She's not that bad. She's not that bad person. Just so that we can live stream you. And thanks once again to everybody who gave us their live stream. It was brilliant to see, and it really adds a huge element to the viewers to watching and seeing how the effort is going in, not just the avatar. So thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow for the final part and to work out who the winners are in the Andrasta Tour. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everyone.